Military doctrine changed too. Armies began to prioritize drone defense in a new way. Air defense budgets shifted toward short-range detection, rapid interception, and electronic warfare tools that could detect and disable small signatures. Training emphasized convoy spacing, dispersal, and rapid response. NATO partners shared lessons. Exercises tested swarm attacks and convoy survival. The strike accelerated investment in both offense and defense. Countries that had once dismissed DIY drones as a nuisance now treated them as strategic threats. Economic fallout followed. Insurance costs for cargo in the region rose. Firms that moved goods through conflict zones demanded higher fees. Black market networks that relied on bulk shipments faced losses. The strike added friction to an already fragile supply system. Small towns near the strike zone felt the effect. Local economies that depended on transit saw traffic decline. The human cost was heavy, even beyond the convoy. Families of drivers and support staff faced sudden loss. Local hospitals treated burn victims and trauma. The region would carry those scars for years. Finally, the strike reshaped the narrative of modern war. It showed that low-cost tech used by organized teams could cause strategic effects. It blurred the line between state and non-state actors. It proved that battlefields extend into the sky and into networks. Commanders who once planned mainly with tanks and artillery now had to plan with code, batteries, and algorithms. That lesson would ripple across militaries and governments. The convoy's destruction was not the end of a story. It was the opening chapter of a new era. One side gained a short-term victory. The long-term fight moved into new domains. The sky had become a weapon, and the rules of war had to change to meet it. The strike left a lasting mark on modern warfare. A single night showed how small, inexpensive drones could rewrite the rules. 200 volunteers, with little more than ingenuity, training, and determination, had achieved what armies with tanks and artillery could not. The battlefield had shifted from massed forces to precise, networked tools. Control of the skies no longer required fighter jets or missile systems. It required strategy, intelligence, and technology used creatively. The moral questions lingered. Civilians had become combatants. Volunteers, many of them engineers and hobbyists, executed a mission that erased an entire convoy. Not a single life survived. War was no longer just about soldiers in uniform. It was about ideas, skill, and coordination. The human element remained, but the methods had changed. Those who operated the drones were far from the front lines, yet their impact was total. This blurred the line between combatant and non-combatant, raising ethical and legal questions that military strategists and international bodies would struggle to answer. Ukraine's innovation had proved a point. Asymmetry could overcome power. A smaller nation with limited resources could strike fear into better-equipped forces. Swarm tactics, cheap drones, and autonomous targeting had created a force multiplier. Future conflicts would increasingly rely on these methods. Nations would be forced to defend against threats that are invisible, fast, and unpredictable. Drones no longer needed to be expensive or advanced to be lethal. Properly coordinated, they could change the course of battles, even wars. Looking forward, the battlefield had changed forever. Military planners would now consider drones as primary assets, not just supplemental tools. Eye-assisted targeting, swarm coordination, and volunteer networks could reshape conflicts worldwide. Every convoy, every supply route, and every exposed position became vulnerable. The psychological impact alone was immense. Soldiers learned to fear the unseen, the drones that might strike silently from above. The night of 3:47 a.m. became more than a tactical victory. It became a symbol of a new era in warfare. One where strategy, technology, and courage could outweigh traditional might. The world watched and learned. Modern war is not just fought with weapons of mass destruction. It is fought with innovation, intelligence, and the courage to use them decisively. The skies over Donetsk were quiet now, but the lessons lingered. And in those lessons lay the future of combat, swift, deadly, and driven by ingenuity.